Morning, this is Light Miser, aka Kimball. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about my ice vending business. Like many Americans over the last year and a half, 2 years, I fell on Cody Sanchez. I found her YouTube stream very, very intriguing, and her push with encouraging small business. One of the people that she interviewed, she has what she calls boring businesses. Businesses that just really create a lot of great cash flow. And through that, I've actually, over the last 2 years, tried to purchase a laundromat with a partner of mine. Unfortunately, that one didn't come together in time. I also tried to pick up a storage unit. And turns out that the people that own the storage unit are all friends of the family, but they're making money on it and they're happy with it. And I'm really getting concerned that down here, there's been a lot of storage units built, and so that market may be getting saturated here pretty quick. But if I ever get to buy his is old school, and I could put a lot of automation into it that I think would maximize profits on it. So one of the businesses I did get involved with is an vending ice and filtered water machine. And if you read a lot of reviews, there's a lot of mixed reactions of people actually involved with this, especially on Facebook. You see a ton of these machines for sale, and they're all over the Southeast. The Southwest, they haven't really gotten as much of a break into the market. In fact, I believe that I've got one of two machines in this entire county. And I actually am working with someone who bought one up north and haven't been able to find a good location, and should be having it placed here as a partnership in the next few months over at the head of one of the national parks. I've got a really good feeling about that one. The unit I have, the manufacturer of the machines I'm talking about are the Everest ice machines. And there's been a lot of issues with people hoping to get support. And one of the problems I've really seen with the way that people have been approaching this is they're approaching it as a passive income because it's a vending machine. They think that's it, get it set up and that's it. And any type of decent business isn't just a set it and forget it if you want to be able to make any kind of decent profit from it. It just isn't. You got to get hands on, and even if that's to maximize your time, getting a crew involved, set it and forget it. If that's what you want, get in the stock market. Do the S&P 500. Follow to some degree, or if you want to be really lazy about it, get into mutual funds. An actual, honest to God business, you got to run the thing. So one of the real critical pieces of making the ice business work is your location. My location is not great. It's at an RV park, and during the warm seasons and during there's a lot of athletic events around down here, it draws in a decent amount. During the winter, there's of course almost nothing, but it's almost not quite break even on the funds coming on the purchases at the machine. But chatting with through several groups I've gotten in on Facebook for owners of these systems, there's a huge missed market of doing small batch deliveries, bulk deliveries of prepackaged ice. And I got into that at the beginning of the summer because I wanted to finally start making some decent money from this. And it's exploded the growth and how much money I've made off this machine. In fact, even now, I expected my season to be done a month and a half, 2 months ago, and really just had the machine sitting there. It's been my machine is actually an Akoona machine, which is the predecessor to Everest, but all the same parts work in it. So I have bought replacement parts from Everest. I've upgraded the front panel to it. I've upgraded the electronics to it, and been able to get some degree of support from them. But because it's one of the things I've learned over the years is if you can avoid it, don't buy new, buy used. For a while, I got involved with. I helped put together a family entertainment center where I was contracted to do AV for the place. It was a pirate-themed restaurant. Then they found out that I'd written video games during my software career, and so they asked me to design out the arcade. And then I brokered buying all the gear there. And then right before they opened, they asked me to come on full-time to maintain my gear, maintain the arcade, and help design franchise locations. Fortunately, the franchise locations, the company fell apart before that really happened. But I got a lot of hands-on time with arcade games. And any type of physical machine is like an arcade game or an Everest ice machine. When they come out new, there's going to be a lot of issues that aren't seen. That the machine's got to be in operation to find where the bugs are with it to get them really solid, and that takes time. So if you ever want to get into arcades, don't buy new arcade games. Buy used ones, not hammered ones, but that still have their decals looking decent and whatnot. But then any of the major issues will be worked through already. My machine is actually fairly old now. I think it's 14 years old, my Akoona machine, but it's been absolutely rock solid. In fact, the only problems I've had with it have been on the ice maker side of it, because these systems basically are two systems in one. Well, really three systems in one. You've got the ice maker itself, which is from the company called Scotsman. Really great ice makers, but those machines require maintenance. Then you've got the Everest electronic side, which tells it the ice system when to drop ice, when the bin's empty, all that kind of things, and the actual process of delivering the ice. And then the third part is if you don't do just straight cash, the credit card system. Even the cash system is connected with the credit card system, and that then feeds into the Everest control system. And so because you got these three different components, sometimes you got to make sure you're going to the right location to get support. I had a major issue a year ago with my ice maker, the actual Scotsman machine itself, part of it itself. I lost almost the entire summer, and I kept calling Everest, and we couldn't figure out. And in the end, it ended up being a problem with the ice maker, and it was that 10-minute fix. Once I got help from an actual ice maker specialist. A little aggravated with that, but I don't blame Everest for that. That was my lack of knowledge and knowing where to look, and I think that's where a lot of the issues and a lot of the negative reviews come from, is people not understanding what they're getting into, not doing enough research. So my machine, as I said, was used. I bought it out of Ohio and had it shipped down here because at the time I could get the machine, even with shipping it down here and putting new electronics in it, I was about $10,000 less than all the other machines I was seeing. And I also discovered, because it was in Ohio and Cincinnati, the guy who had bought this, and he'd bought it originally out of Florida, he had a friend that did styrofoam, industrial styrofoam. And so he had completely styrofoamed the entire thing out to give it much better insulation, but also put in heater lines into it and heater triggers when it gets down below freezing, so I don't have to winterize and shut the machine off for the winter. The machine just runs 24/7, which I think is just a lot easier operation to deal with than trying to actually winterize it properly and flushing out the water lines and all that garbage. So it's been, and the machine itself actually, other than this one stupid Scotsman issue, has been extremely reliable machine, absolutely rock solid. And it did struggle a little bit here in the summer, which I expected, because where I live, it gets 115 degrees. When it would get up super hot like that, it had trouble making ice in the middle of the day. You expect that. Okay, I know I'm rambling here. Anyway, to maximize on the profitability, I started offering the bulk deliveries, hoping to tap into the backup ice for restaurants in the area if their ice machines go down. And then also trying to get into the wedding and party planners and delivering for those. A very short time, because of the website I put together for the company, I ended up being contacted by a hamburger chain based out of California, the local place here, and it turns out that the ice maker that corporate put in was too small, and once it hit above 95 degrees, it couldn't keep up. I became their ice supplier, and I'm actually listed with corporate for our county for being the ice supplier for their location. They only have one in our county. They're about to build a second one. Unfortunately for me, good for them, about 3/4 of the way through the summer, corporate finally realized how much money they were spending on me on ice and upgraded their ice maker to the right size for the location, for the demand, and for the heat and all that. And so now I only get a call if something breaks, like their front room ice machine, which I had 2 more deliveries after they got the big ice maker put in. So I figure next summer I'll probably get 4 or 5 deliveries. I did get a wedding. I did get a week-long corporate event up by the national park near here. And then out of the blue, I got a I've been providing ice for a TV production, stream TV, being filmed here that ends this week, and that's tapered off as well because when they first got here, they discovered that the caterer's portable kitchen, his trailer, his ice maker was broken. And he couldn't get it fixed in time, and it was still hitting 100 degrees when they started production a month and a half ago. Well, in the last 3 weeks, we're now down during the day in the 50s, and so I think I've done my ice. They wrapped this week, and I think I've done my last ice delivery for them. But I've made a lot of money off that production, so I'm really looking forward to next summer, especially since I've been able to get more freezer space at my friend's RV park to be able to pre-stack ice. Where he had a freezer there he wasn't using, he gave me access to, and I could keep about 30 bags in there. I got a second freezer I've got outside with a lock. I can fit 20 bags in there, and I've got now people that live in the park, actually my long-term tenants, that have been bugging me wanting to be able to handle filling ice for me. Admittedly, they're probably not going to have any more bags to fill till summertime, but we were able to do at least one time with them filling, get a feel for the operation, make sure I had everything in place to be able to properly facilitate them doing that. So this next summer, I'm very excited to see what happens. But I think that's the big problem people have with getting into this type of business is they don't approach it as a business. That's the complaint I'm seeing, is that people think they can just set it up, forget it. And to even have a chance near that, you've got to have a great location. Mine is not great. And because I discovered when I was running for city council, there's zones here in my city that I can't put flags out in front of the RV park advertising my business. They actually have a code that you can't put signs that flutter unless you're a realtor selling parcels at a new development. There's a new development that's new. It still has slots available. They keep expanding out near my house. And they've had flags up there for over 6 years that look like hell. Mine have been up for about 4 or 5 months. And the other fun part is zone enforcement can't do anything about it unless someone calls them and complains about it. It just happened to be they got the complaint in the middle of my city council run. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Anyway, I obviously can spend a lot of time whining about that. So, yeah, in the last, 2 months, I've probably profited about $3,000 in total off my ice maker, which is really good for that machine. I mean, and so I'm excited to see where it can go for next year. The guys that I talked to that had keyed me on this and told me, figured out how the operation, using hog pliers to seal the bags and getting freezers and whatnot. They started out with 2 machines down in Florida. One they had placement for. The second one, their placement fell out before they got the machine. The machine showed up. So they'd stuck in a warehouse, and these are new. These machines cost between upwards of $50,000. And so they had didn't want to see it just sitting there empty, and so they'd gotten a small freezer and pre-bagged and started hustling, getting places to deliver to. They were focusing more on restaurants and on construction companies during the summer. And that first summer, they made $40,000. And when I talked to them, it was last winter, and they were putting in their warehouse a small walk-in deep freeze and getting a second machine so they could totally expand their operation, the delivery operation. That's what I'm really hoping for this next year, is to see a big uptick in sales, because I picked up a few more coolers. I use a trailer to deliver, and if I can get enough regular deliveries going, I eventually want to get a small refrigerated trailer. They cost about $10,000, $12,000 new. If I can get a used one, probably for around $8,000. But of course, I have to get one that gets not a cooler, but it gets cold enough to be freezing for the ice bags. But a lot of potential there that way. But of course, I've been very careful to grow into it, to make sure I've got the regular business there before I buy more options. Spend more money on it. Because of the deliveries I was doing for this movie, in the middle of that was when I got that first wedding. So I picked up another cooler. I've now got 5 coolers that I'm delivering with, and then I spent $100 to get large stickers made up that I put on the coolers to give a little more professional look to it. Plus, because the machine is older, in fact, I'll slip in some video I took of the machine. That's my ice maker, and for people who want to get into the industry, expecting it to just be a purely passive income generation is not a realistic expectation. You got to be willing to put hands and time onto it, do some actual work with it. I'll talk more about that later. The decals on the left side are starting to peel off. There used to be one over the door where the bags sit that fell off, basically fell off about 3 months ago. So I've ordered a new set of decals for it. Again, the machine's 12 years old, no, 14 years old now. And the original plexiglass up front actually looked okay, but the Akoona color scheme had green in it, a lot of green, and you're filtered water, and it looks like algae. So that's why I got rid of that right away. I would have loved to have gotten a custom-made one with my logo, because if you guys ever need logos made real quick for the inexpensive, look at Fiverr. It's usually guys out of India. They did a great job for me creating a logo for that company. I've had them do a logo for another company. And that's the logo that I used on my website and that I've used on these decals. And I would have loved to have that for the front screen of the machine. Buying their pre-done Everest one, it was like $100. To have a custom one done was $1,500. So it didn't make sense. Maybe down the road someday. I'm not holding my breath. Anyway, if you guys have any more questions about getting into this into the standalone ice systems, tell you what I know. I try and help out on the Facebook boards, people getting into it. Again, it's not for everybody. If you're thinking in its investment of just set it and drop it and forget it, you're going to lose money. You're going to lose your shirt. You're going to have a bad taste in your mouth for it, and you're going to be angry with it. If you approach it as a business and willing to put time to it, and I'm not putting a ton of time into it. I do it before and after my day job. Mainly before. I do need to go tonight and sanitize the machine. You got to do that every few months and clean the scale out of it. Great. Do that once a quarter. Plan on that. Plan on being involved with it and making it an actual business and working with it. Approach it as a side business and then grow it out and see where you can get to it with it. But if you think about just setting it up, walking away from it, forgetting it, and think it's going to make you $1,000 a month, it ain't going to happen. There's very few businesses out there like that work like that. Anyway, if you like what you're seeing here, of course, hit the subscribe, the thumbs up, the notifications, all that good stuff, and have a good day.